Well, before we get started, I think it would be very useful if we were to take a moment and dispel some of the myths surrounding martial arts and self-defense. It would be really awesome if I were able to force you to purchase a book that I wrote called Ignorance, Myth, and the Martial Arts. What a great idea. Udemy. Can I force them to purchase a book that I wrote? But can I call it a textbook and say it's required? Please? Well, okay, so I'm not going to be allowed to force you to purchase a book that I wrote. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the gist of what you typically encounter when you're trying to learn more about self-defense through a martial arts school. The first thing that we talk about is what I classify as the killer karate. It doesn't have to be a karate school. It could be Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It could be a Kung Fu school. It could be capoeira. It doesn't matter. What matters is these are the guys that tell you that all you need is their style, their system, their school, and if you learn how to fight their way, you will be safe. It doesn't work that way. The factors that determine whether or not you're safe are not found inside of a martial arts school. And the next thing that drives me crazy are the people with the one move self-defense. They come up with one technique and they base this on the OODA loop, and I'll get into this in more detail later, but they try to take the D out of OODA. The D stands for decide, and they take that and they say we're going to limit your choices down to this one move so that no matter how the bad guy attacks you, you're going to respond with this one move, be it a punch or a kick or a touch of death or whatever. None of that matters. What matters to them is that they've limited your choices. The problem you run into is if that choice fails and you're in the hot center of your brain, and we'll get into more detail on this later, but if you're in the hot center and your one move fails, you're going to try it again and again. It's called tactical fixation, and it's going to make a huge mess. One of the other things that you're going to run into is the mystical martial arts crowd, and these people drive me nuts. They claim touches of death and chi power. They proclaim no-touch knockouts, and it's just ridiculous. And when they're busted doing these techniques where, see, it only works when it's on their own students, and whenever they get busted, they come up with some crazy response like, if you had your tongue in this part of your mouth and your big toe was lifted up off of the floor, it's not going to work. Give me a break. And I've decried the joint lock crowd many times in the past, but that's from me looking at a bigger picture. Specifically, military and law enforcement, they need joint locking, especially law enforcement officers need joint locking ability. Regular run-of-the-mill people, you could learn some joint locks because sometimes maybe your drunk uncle is smacking you around because he wants to see some of that karate that you're learning. And yeah, you don't want to break his bones. You could just do a joint lock and make him leave you alone, that kind of thing. But it's limited in its uses. And for a person to have their entire self-defense based on joint locking, I question the utility of it. So bottom line, the question becomes, do you need martial arts training in order to increase your personal safety? And as a professional martial arts instructor, it might sound strange for me to give you this answer, but the fact is, the answer is no, you don't need it. There are plenty of reasons to train in the martial arts. The camaraderie, the fact that no matter where you go in the country, no matter where you move, you're going to have instant friends as soon as you find a martial arts club teaching something that you practiced or perhaps something new. I've run into people. I ran into a guy in an airport in Japan one year, and we didn't even speak the same language. We were in the airport exchanging techniques as if it was money, and it's just a wonderful thing. And above all else, I think that one of the main reasons why people train in the martial arts and why it's good to train the martial arts is because it's fun. So increasing your personal safety, perhaps through confidence, perhaps through getting in better shape, yes. And I don't want to tell people to not sign up in a martial arts school, but what I do want to say is that if you're looking for personal safety, you can do that and something else. I've always been an all of the above kind of guy. Just let's do everything we can in the approach to trying to solve problems, and everything that might work, let's do it. So in relation to martial arts and personal safety, absolutely, but make sure that you understand what you're doing and what you're getting into. And that's all that we're going to be talking about this lesson on the myths that you run into. We're going to be getting started on the rest of the lessons presently. Thank you.